Hello everyone, I hope everyone is doing great. So today we have a lab by cyber defenders called the Voldemort APT41 Lab, where we'll be correlating logs, analyzing disk artifacts and so on to uncover and investigate an attack made by the APT group APT41, right? So in this lab we'll be using Splunk as our theme, right, and with other various tools for investigation. So a quick brief summary of APT41. So APT41 is actually a threat group which is assessed as a Chinese state-sponsored espionage, and it's also financially motivated, known to be targeting industries such as healthcare, telecom, technology, finance, and so on, right? So you can here find the list of the activities techniques used by this group. However, in this lab we'll focus about this malware which is called Voldemort. So let's start by reading the scenario. So the scenario says the SOC team receives an alert from the email security gateway flagging suspicious message targeting multiple employees across various departments. Shortly afterward, one employee reported unusual system behavior after interacting with the suspicious email, right? So email is still one of the most used attack vector, so on. Initial triage indicates a possible compromise of at least one endpoint. You have been provided with disk data related to potential affected user, as well as recorded logs from all departments, employees, machines. Your mission is to analyze the evidence, uncover indicators of compromise, and map out the attack to determine the scope and the impact, right? So we'll start opening the lab, right, and start. I have already did the lab, but let's do it together for the sake of practice. So we'll start by the initial access phase, right? So we already know it's through an email, yeah. So question number one says, during the initial phase of attack, the threat actor sent a phishing email to the victim. What email address was used by the attacker to send the phishing email, right? So once you open the lab here, we'll wait for it to open. All right, we already did this. It's reconnecting. So now once the lab has been loaded, let's go back to the first question and read it. During the initial phase of the attack, the threat actor sent a phishing email to the victim. What's the email address that was used by the attacker to this phishing email? All right. So as we have already said, phishing emails is still the first vector of attacks. So we can go to the start here folder, right? You find artifacts, tools, readme text, right? If you go to the readme text here, you'll find some descriptions to the tools, I believe. Here you can see the tools that's available in the tools folder, and some descriptions related to it. It's not important for now. Let's close it, and we'll go navigate to the artifacts folder, evidence zip. Now we are looking for phishing emails, right, or to the emails that was sent. So we can go to the users folder, administrator, we can go to documents, right, and here you can see here a number of you can see a number of emails that was sent. However, we should look for the most suspicious title, right? So if we say cloud service, HR announcement, LinkedIn meeting invitation, tech news update required, and so on, yeah. So let's look at, for instance, let's look at HR announcement, right? Let's look at the header or the email, if it's suspicious or not. The second email that sounds suspicious is this one, is update required for your tax record, because this implements that, a sense of urgency or a tactic, which is like used in social engineering to manipulate the recipient. All right, so for instance, it's just taking some time to load. If you can see, look at this email, you can see the email seems normal.com, yeah. However, let's close this one and go to this email, right? As you can see, it says update required. It looks suspicious. Update required for your tax records. If you look at the if the sender email, you can see no reply, hmark.gov to the UK. It's trying to mimic as a UK domain. However, if you go at, this is the real domain, which is .it, which is a Italy domain. So right, so this is actually the spoofed email, or the email most likely where the attacker was using it. Yeah, so this sounds suspicious. So indeed, this is most likely the email, or the sender email that was used for the phishing activity. So if you navigate down, it's indeed the answer, right? As you can see, it's trying to mimic a UK domain. So anyways, question number two says the threat actor embedded a deceptive hyperlink in the phishing email that redirected a malicious web page. What's the full URL of the malicious web page site where the victim was redirected? Yeah, so basically, after the user received the email, he clicked a link. Yeah, so what we can do actually, we can just try to open this using let's say using notepad plus plus. Let's bring it down here. All right, close this one, close this one, close this one, and open using notepad plus plus. Yeah, so you can see here the header, the email header. It's called email header analysis. This is the sender email, the subject. If you go back, if you go down, let's look for any kind of suspicious links. Yeah, so as you can see here from the HTML code, hyperlink, you can see this is suspicious looking link. There's no other links down, I do believe. You so yes, this is indeed the link that was clicked by the victim or the receiver. Yeah, so this is indeed the answer. You can use the any tool of your choice to view the email header or the email body. So you can see this is indeed the email, the hyperlink or the link. Question number three says, at what specific time did the victim first access the malicious web page? Right, so at what time did he click the link, basically? So for this, to answer this question, we can you can just copy the link, right? Let's copy it till here, or just let's minimize this one and use Splunk, so we can know at what timestamps did a victim clicked on the link. If you want to know the password and the credential used, this is actually the credentials: the user, student, password, side of student. It's taking some time to load. So here, student, here, side def student. Okay, side def student, okay, a small letter. All right, side def student. I hope it's side def student. All right. All right. Student. Sci. Yeah, it's actually opened. So you can go to the search and reporting. All right, you can just look for the link index equal to and the malicious URL. Copy, minimize, paste it here, and just in case, cover with double. All right, And for this one, let's click make it all time, and let's wait. All right, so we have actually seven events from the source type of Suricata. So just to make things professional, let's make a table. Okay, table time, and let's see, URL, HTTP URL, any URL. Okay, HTTP URL to have an ID. Right, so as you can see here, the user clicked almost the link. You can see Java around 11:20, right? Or just to become more sure, let's go here and look at the link. Actually, HTTP referral, yeah, REF, yeah. So we can also put this one. Yeah, so as you can see, most likely the link was clicked around 11:20, right? So indeed this is the time. If you can, oh sorry, it's not 11:20, it's actually 7 around 11. Yeah, it's around 11. Yeah, so if you go down, yeah, it's actually around 11. The link was clicked around 11:21 of 21 of July 2025. Yeah, because we did not sort it, so here's the latest. After 20 minutes I clicked it, so here's is the actually the beginning of the time that was clicked around 11:09. Yeah, so indeed this is the answer. All right, to answer this question, which is about what's the domain name of the tunneling service used by the attacker. So basically here this activity means that the attacker hosted a payload on a remote machine and it was clicked by the victim, yeah. But the tunneling service, we need to identify the tunneling service. So in order to find this kind of activities, we need to go back to the lab and probably use tools like browser cache tools, right? So we can look for the starting folders tools, Neurosoft. Yeah, you can see here this is all kind of browser tools. We have here BR tools, browser tools, view, Chrome cache, browser history. Yeah, you have all this you have all this tool, but let's look at this one, graphic user interface, Chrome cache view. Right, so we can just go to the file. Yeah, so this is the cache data that we want. However, it's not showing for some reason. So actually, you know what, let's close this one. Let's bring the tool here, yeah, and go to navigate, start here, artifacts. We're looking for browser cache, yeah. So users, actually administrators, browser cache, app data, local, Chrome, okay, Google Chrome, user data, right? And we can go to default cache. We're looking for the cache data. Yeah, so this is all the cache data. We can just drag it here. We have the cache data. Close this one, open this one, and try to drag this one here. Okay, not draggable. Go to the Let's choose the desktop folder, go to the desktop, and we are in the desktop, and right, we are in desktop, and let's choose we're in the desktop, yeah. So okay, my bad. So this PC, desktop, and cage data, yeah. So yeah, so as you can see, it's showing here the caged data. However, they're asking for the tunneling service, the domain of the tunneling service that was used, right? So we can go to this one, yeah. So you can see this seem all to be legitimate. However, this is the looks like the malicious link that was clicked. Here's the title. So I can just click open selected cage file. I can use you can use Notepad or Visual Studio Code. We can see the content, what did happen in the background, and actually they are saying a malicious, oh, they abused window search protocol. So yeah, so we'll look into it. Yeah, so VS Code is opening actually. Yeah, so as you can see, once we opened the code, you can see here the details. Important document awaiting you, new tax document. Okay, we are looking for some suspicious link. Okay, as you can see here, we have seen a suspicious link, an IP. However, it's associated with document create element image. All right, and if you go here, drive Google. If you go above here, window location href function get image. All right, you can see here, yeah, you can see this suspicious looking link, subquery was entering pg political try cloudflare. You know, you can see cloudflare, which is also service used to host local to remote local machines to the internet. You can see this suspicious looking link, and you can see, yeah, this is the windows search protocol. So yes, so since this is the windows search protocol, this is the name of the service that was abused is actually try cloudflare, yeah. That's the domain. What's the domain? The domain appeared to be this one, wars entering pgpolitical.cloudflare.com. So this appeared to be the tunneling service that was used to host the payload in the attacker's machine. So it's clicked uh, by the victim, yeah. So this is indeed the name of the tunneling service, or the domain of the tunneling service. If you go to the answer, it's indeed the answer, which was entering BG political, yeah. So we got this from the browser cage data. All right, so question number 5. After the victim interacted with the button of the malicious page, the page retrieved an image from an external server. What's the IP address of the server hosting the image? Yeah. So as you can see from the code, it's Java code, I do believe. You can see here a function to get image, and here create element image, and this looks like the IP or the server that where the picture is hosted, and the IP is 18.184.116.137. Yeah, so this is indeed the answer. Simply, this is indeed the answer. Question number 6 says the Windows Search Protocol was leveraged to execute a malicious link file which subsequently launched a remote script. What's the name of the malicious script that was executed on the victim system? Right, so we have a script that was executed. So how can we find this? We can just copy the tunneling surface that was used by the attacker and look for the script, for any script that was being run in Splunk. We can close this one, we don't need it, and get back to Splunk, searching and reporting, index wildcard, and this one All right, so we look for any kind of malicious scripts. Okay, sorry. All right, we have around 270 hits. We can see the source type is between Suricata and window logs. Okay, we can look for the app. Okay, you can see python.exe, run dll, python.exe, and so on. So if you can go look for any kind of command lines. So here we have run dll being used. However, okay, here as you can see here we have a script, right? We have here cmd, we have here python.exe. However, here as you can see we have a python script.py window. Yeah, this is, you can see PowerShell was used with this suspicious parameter, which is hidden window style no profile, which is used like to hide the execution of PowerShell. This is the abused tunneling service, and you can see there's a Python script that was running probably in the background. So let's click this one. So we know that around 11 o'clock the user clicked a malicious link from the email, and around 9:01, which is just a minute almost after, almost 2 minutes, 1 minute after the execution of the link, the click of the link, this script was executed, which is script.py. Yeah, so this is the link actually, script.py. You can see here the activity command line. Yeah, this is the command line destination. This is the PC. All right, even code one. The parent image is okay Explorer. All right, so it first launched the Explorer, then PowerShell. The child parent process name is Explorer. Parent command line, okay Explorer. Let's look for the child. The child is PowerShell. Yeah, so usually when PowerShell is launched by Explorer, it's suspicious. So this is the answer actually. It's script.py. Yeah, this is actually the malicious script. All right, so question number 7 says, which is under the command and control phase. Following the initial compromise, the threat actor delivered a second stage payload in the form of an archive file, right, which is like a zip or a RAR file. What's the full path where the second stage archive was saved on the victim machine, right? So we have another payload. The first payload we discovered is the script, the Python script that was run through PowerShell. However, we need to find the second one. So it's a file, it's an archive file. So we can go back here to Splunk. We can look for any notions for, let's say, files. Okay, we have here file name, we have file paths, right? So let's say here we have file name. You can see here we have 6 file names. Okay, and we have something called test.zip, collapse windows. However, since this is a zip file, this is most probably the archive file that was used. However, just to confirm, we just make a table file name and the file path. And since we want to confirm the process that was used to execute this process, all right, let's just use process. All right, all right. So okay, so this means it's a separate event. So what we can do, we can just click go back just from the file path. Let's choose one file. All right, so the most suspicious file, as you can see, among these is the test zip file and the DLL file. But however, since we are now focusing on an archive file related to the payload, we'll click on this file. All right, and you can see the file path test.zip, and this is the seems like. So let's check the process. So yeah, as you can see, the process is actually the tunneling service, and you can see the pythons, which confirms our hypothesis that this is the process that was used to make to stage or archive the payload, right? Process name, yeah, it's Python, right? So if I go to the event code, so event code is actually 4663, which is like there was a file was accessed, a file handle was accessed, right? So this is actually the path, which is this is the path where the payload was saved in. Yeah, and if you look here, it's indeed the answer. Question number 8 says, what's the file sharing or hosting service was utilized to distribute this archive? Yeah, so basically there's attackers may use some free hosting services that to host this zip file, right? So to find this, what we can do, first we can just look at the tunneling service or the tunneling domain and look for any suspicious, let's say, DNS queries or any URLs, no URLs, okay, the DNS R type, okay. So we have some DNS logs. We have one query, so we just gonna go to the query, right? Query name. Oh, sorry, query name. You have this is the actually the domain used for the tunneling service, and however, if you look at this file, there's a download 1589 media file. Yeah, which is interesting because for those who don't know, Mediafire is a service, cloud hosting services, right? So if you look at the answer, so this is the response from the server, possibly the malicious server, and you can see the process initiated by the malicious process we earlier identified. So process name, okay, signature, DNS queue, right? So the attacker possibly utilized this service, which is Mediafire, because this is the only query that's related to the activity, which is based on their perception, like the file hosting, right? So it's actually mediafire.com. So yeah, mediafire.com. Going back to the exfiltration, where the attacker exfiltrated. I don't want you to show the answer. So the executed malicious script collected information from compromised systems and transmitted it to an external service. What's the IP address for of the exfiltration server, right? So there's many approach to find this answer actually. First, let's go back to the tunneling malicious service used, which is this domain. So we can look for repeat like the destination IP with the most hits, right? With the most count. You can see these are all destination IPs. This is actually the one we found earlier, which is related to the domain, the answer, the query response. So we exclude this one. So we have actually this one and this one. This seems with the highest count, but let's click on it. Let's see if it has any link with the malicious process. Okay, so it is from sorry catalogs process. So okay, so it does not have any process associated with it, right? So we can go back and we choose this destination IP, or you can even also search for event code 3, which indicates outbound connection, right? So if you go to destination IP, all right, let's look for another information. It's from window event logs, all right, perfect. Yeah, so as if you look at the app field, it indicates that the process utilized here is actually the malicious process, the Python process that was identified, right? Destination port 8080, okay. What else? Process execution, process path. Yeah, so you can see this is most probably the exfiltration. This is the internal host where the exfiltration occurred to the malicious. uh yeah, so if you look at the event code, actually event code is actually 3. Yeah, so if you look at destination IP, yeah, even code 3 indicates outbound DNS, sorry, outbound internet connection, right? So outbound traffic. So yeah, so this is indeed the IP that was utilized for exfiltration. All right, now we'll move towards the defensivation part or phase, and it's question number 10. So here it says the download archive contain a malicious DLL file as part of the second stage. What's the name of the malicious DLL? Then download archive. All right, so if you go down, if you go here to the download archive, we know file paths. So this is the first payload. It was in this location, user administrator update local Microsoft, and then yeah, so they are saying that there is another DLL file, so we can just go just top values, verbose top file paths, and you can see here we have only 6 test.zip collab host Windows. Okay, this we have a PDF file, yeah, and we have here a suspicious DLL file inside the same location, and here we have WinSystem32. Yeah, so I would assume that this is actually the DLL file, which is because it's still it's in the same location. If you look, they are both in the same location. This is the first payload we found, which is inside this location, and this is also inside this location. So this is the malicious DLL, which is Cisco Spark Launcher.dll. Yeah, you can see its path, and most of the time this path is used for evading detection. This path, because it's usually not monitored. Yeah, so yeah, so this is the suspicious path where the DLL has been put or injected, right? Object file name, or and so on. So you can see it's related to the event that's related to file access. So if you go to the signature, an attempt was made to access an object, right? So indeed this is the answer, Cisco Spark Launcher DLL. Now to the last 2 questions, we have another command and control, the malicious DLL, which is this one, the Cisco Spark DLL, which we have identified, maintain communication with a command and control infrastructure. What's the name of the service or platform being used as a C2 server? All right, so basically let's just look for let's just focus on this DLL. We can just cancel all this, and yeah, all time. Yeah, so we have 45 events. However, we have the source type window event log, the processes, cert util, hash file. All right, okay, administrator local. So nothing useful here. Let's go to the event code. What kind of logs do we have? 463 file access, event code 1 process. Okay, let's look at the process. For instance, current process name, explorer sysmon. Okay, we are looking here for what's the service or platform used as the C2. So this is actually the process name. So nothing. Process execution, cert util, no. Process hash, process name, nothing that can indicate exfiltration here actually. So what we do usually, we can look for any kind of we can do some forensics. CRS is okay. Yeah, so what we can do normally, we can just grab this the DLL file, right, which is inside the start here, artifacts, evidence.zip, evidences, right, and users, administrators. Based on the Splunk, I believe it is in app local data, Microsoft window. Yeah, so yeah, it's around here. App data, local, Microsoft, and Windows. Yeah, so if you scroll down, you can find that this is it indeed. We just grab it here, right? And let's use a tool which is a native strings tool. Yeah. All right. So strings tool, for those who don't know, is a tool used to extract strings from files, DLLs files, and so on. So we can. It's like static malware analysis. Yeah. There are better tools, but for now we'll use this one. You can grab the file here, and all right, we can just paste it here and ask them the question, which is actually I don't want you to see the answer. What is the name of the service or platform being used as C2 server? What service is being used as C2 server? This is a better way instead of manually looking for strings, which can, yeah, so here it said the DLL appears to be using Google Sheets APIs as per its command control mechanism, add sheet request, manager rows. Yeah, so here the AI ChatGPT analyzed that it's indeed Google Sheets which was being used as C2 server. So if you look at the answer, it's actually indeed Google Sheets. The last and final question, based on communication and behavior of malicious DLL, what's the name of malware campaign associated with this threat? Yeah, so we can just ask ChatGPT again. What malware campaign is associated with this behavior? You can also Google it. Yeah, so this behavior is strongly associated with the Voldemort malware campaign backdoor uncovered by Proofpoint in 2024. Yeah, so you can see the indicators and everything. So yeah, it's amazing. It's indeed Voldemort is the answer. Yeah, so this is the campaign. Actually, the name of the lab is Voldemort. So anyways, I hope everyone enjoyed the lab. Hope it was informative. See you in the next one.